This is Akashvani. In a special program, now we bring you an exclusive interview with Rajiv Gauba, member NITI AAYOG, on Pragati and the journey towards Viksit Bharat at 2047. Interviewer is Vaibhav J. Srivastav.
Namaskar, Pranam. Today we will have a conversation on India's development through Pragati. In the midst of an ever-changing global scenario, transformations in technology like we have never seen in the history of mankind, and a truly unpredictable future, we will have a conversation about India's dream, about India's vision of becoming a Viksit Bharat, a developed India by 2047. And to have this very important discussion, we have a very, very special guest, a special personality with us. Former Secretary of the Ministry of Home, former Cabinet Secretary of the Republic of India, and now a member of India's public policy think tank. His experience and expertise in the area of public policy and administration is an institution in itself. We welcome to the studios of Akashvani, Shri Rajiv Gauba ji. Sir, welcome.
Thank you very much.
So India's vision of becoming a developed country, a Viksit Bharat by 2047, the aim, and through a transformative initiative like Pragati, what would you say Pragati is to the common man, to the common person of India and the world who are listening and looking forward to India becoming a developed nation? What is the leadership role in Pragati?
Well, see, first of all, this whole idea or the concept of Viksit Bharat or developed country, India as a developed country by 2047, that itself is a huge, leap in thinking and visioning. Earlier, our ambition as a country was far more modest, that we will eradicate poverty or bring about some incremental improvements in infrastructure or human development indicators and so on. On 15th August 2022, from the ramparts of Red Fort, during his address to the nation on the Independence Day, Prime Minister Shri Modi first articulated this vision of India as a developed country by 2047. So that is a huge change, in terms of aspiration as a country.
Mammoth change.
Sure. And now over the last 2-3 years, you would have seen, that this idea has gained traction, currency, think tanks, business associations, youth, state governments, everyone is now tuned into this idea that we have to achieve this by 2047. Absolutely. And they're accordingly preparing, their vision documents, that where will they be in 2047 and what they need to do in order to be able to reach there. So that, first of all, we have to understand this huge transformation in thinking and visioning. Now, an important part of that vision is the infrastructure. You need physical and digital infrastructure on a huge scale and quality, global standards. That is where this Pragati becomes an extremely important transformational governance initiative. And Pragati is not a standalone initiative. We have to, I think, understand the larger context. The context is that the Prime Minister, our current Prime Minister, Shri Narendra Modi, he has always been focused on using technology to improve governance, accountability, transparency, and better outcomes. So we have a large number of very important infrastructure projects going on in the country at any point of time. Highways, railway projects, irrigation projects, telecommunication, ports, airports, so on and so forth. And these projects are extremely important for the economy, for growth, for development, and also for the quality of life of the people. And many of these projects get delayed. They miss their deadlines. They get stuck in various kinds of issues or bottlenecks. So, in order to overcome these hurdles, improve inter-ministerial coordination and center-state coordination, I think that was the driving spirit behind Pragati. And it has yielded huge benefits. A large number of projects got speeded up, issues got resolved, issues like land acquisition, forest clearances, environmental clearances, wildlife clearances, shifting of utilities. Sometimes there are law and order issues. So what was done was that a portal was created called the Project Management Portal, and all infrastructure projects across ministries which are above a certain value, 500 crores, are listed on it. Their date of sanction, the estimated cost, implementing ministry, various intermediate milestones, and the issues which may be holding them up. And some 25 to 30 projects are picked up every month for review by the Prime Minister himself. And all the chief secretaries of all states are present, all secretaries of Government of India, all ministries, they are present, and issues get resolved. So that is the importance of Pragati. And as I said, you have to see it in the larger context of use of technology like PM Gati Shakti, another transformational technology-driven initiative which has revolutionized the infrastructure planning in the country, optimizing costs, optimizing land requirement, optimizing forest clearances, choosing the best possible alignment, avoiding duplication between different agencies and ministries so that you use your resources optimally. Even social infrastructure like schools and Anganwadis, where they should be located to get the best results. No area should be left out. So that is the beauty of Gati Shakti, which has now become mainstream across ministries and state governments also. Similarly, the government e-marketplace, GEM, you must have heard about GEM, which has transformed the way our ministries and public undertakings, they procure services and goods. So lakhs of crores of rupees are being saved now every year by Government of India. And procurement has been made totally transparent, huge saving in terms of time, and it has been democratized in the sense that even small businessmen, entrepreneurs, suppliers can now participate. So these are number of very impactful, important technology-driven initiatives which the Prime Minister has implemented over the last 10, 11 years. So Pragati is one of them, one of the most important of those initiatives, use of technology to transform governance.
So you've talked about the way centre and state governments should work together. You've talked about democratizing the whole process, which hasn't been done before. Now it is being done. We've heard the word cooperative federalism used by the Honorable Prime Minister a lot of times. He talks about the fact that all the processes in the country should be democratized. And when we talk about the Pragati initiative, we talk about this platform, the reform to simplify, perform to deliver, and transform to impact. The main motive seems to be that now here's a government, here's a think tank, which is willing to go beyond the limits that were set before. And now the main reason for doing all of this is an actual on-ground impact. How do you work towards its execution?
So before and after, there is a total sea change. Having worked in the government since 1982, now for almost 43 plus years in the district, state and centre. Earlier, there was no such monitoring of individual projects on this scale at the highest level in the government, that is the Prime Minister of the country. Projects were reviewed by the ministries, generally at the level of officers or sometimes at the minister level, but not all infrastructure projects across ministries, across the length and breadth of the country on one portal, and then 25-30 projects being picked up for review by the PM himself every month. That is a total change. Number two, bringing all the chief secretaries and secretaries of Government of India ministries together. So it's not just once a month exercise, because this idea then becomes part and parcel of the working of the government, that you have to coordinate better regularly at the highest level, ministries, secretaries, centre and state, come out of your silos, and whole of government approach. So this Pragati platform, whole of government approach, breaking of silos, and centre and state working together, cooperative federalism, is the live example of these concepts. When it started, for example, in March 2015, at that time I was working in the state government, I was Chief Secretary, Jharkhand, when the first Pragati meeting was held. Now, Jharkhand has huge resources, mineral resources, forests, and at any point of time, large number of projects are such, highways and railways which pass through Jharkhand. These are extremely important for Jharkhand and its people, as also for the entire country. So as a result of this platform coming into existence, I could see for the first time all such projects which are being implemented in Jharkhand at one place. And then what are the bottlenecks? So cooperative federalism, centre-state working together, that is exemplified by Pragati platform.
So we've seen projects worth over 85 lakh crores, the pending projects for a long time now that have been cleared. We've seen this happen over a period of time. We've seen the Honorable Prime Minister head the 50th meeting of the Pragati initiative. How exactly was the planning or the vision of clearing these projects and not just reviewing them, but actually doing them on the ground took place? Because that in itself, the figure of 85 lakh crores, it's a mammoth figure.
Yeah, it is.
For a common man, it is unprecedented, unthinkable.
Absolutely.
How do you manage that level of funds or that level of project clearances?
You see, the use of technology, you see. All projects are there on the platform, and some are picked up by review by the Prime Minister himself.
Jeez.
Now, ministries, the secretaries of the ministry or the state chief secretary, they don't know which will get picked up that particular month.
Gee.
It has brought about or imparted a different momentum to the entire infrastructure project execution. Because the PM is going to review every month. So obviously the state chief secretaries and ministry secretaries here, they're all geared up, and they are them also reviewing projects which pertain to them, which are on this platform. So in addition to review by the Prime Minister, the monitoring per se across the government has acquired a totally different momentum. And then there are a large number of very, very important projects which were held up for years together. Navi Mumbai Airport, the rail link, including the bridge over Chenab, which is the highest railway arch bridge in the world, and which has linked that from Kashmir to Kanyakumari, link has got operationalized. The bridge in Assam, which is of strategic importance and the economic importance for the all northeastern states. These are some iconic projects which got speeded up as a result of Pragati. And it is not just projects. Individual schemes are also monitored. Every month, one or the other flagship scheme is taken up. And if some states are sort of lagging behind in implementation, they also get energized. And in addition to individual projects, what happens is that using data analytics, you also identify these are the states which have the maximum number of pending projects, or these are the projects which are pending for a particular kind of clearance. So in addition to getting to the brass tacks or details of individual projects in that meeting, the Prime Minister also gives guidance and directions that and try and analyze the systemic or the root causes, and then undertake reforms in processes or rules and regulations so that there is across the board improvement in the system and the root causes of delays also get eliminated. Another feature of Pragati is the public grievance system. Every month, one or the other ministry makes a presentation on how they address grievances of citizens pertaining to the services which their ministry provides. And the Prime Minister's focus always has been on, not just the number of grievances addressed, but the quality. What is the feedback from the citizens? Whether they were satisfied with your redressal or whether it was just, a formal exercise or checkbox kind of a thing. And again here, draw the appropriate lessons from the kind of grievances and undertake systemic or process improvements in order to improve the quality of services that we provide to the citizens.
So we've talked about changing of mindset. We've seen that whenever a country is going through a transformative journey of becoming a developed country, or we've seen some major transformations, as you've mentioned yourself, some iconic projects being fast-paced and then executed in the most wonderful manners possible. Changing of the silo-based thinking at the highest level possible. What do you think are the leadership roles that youth of the country as well as young entrepreneurs need to learn from our current administration, from the Honorable Prime Minister, from our think tank, the ways our think tanks, our top-level executives, our top-level administrators are working so that they can bring and carry forward these changes or these mindset changes till the time India actually becomes a Viksit Bharat, a developed country?
See, there are several important messages or lessons to be derived from this. One is, that all of us have to work with common purpose, irrespective of which ministry or public sector, private sector or center or state, with a whole of government, whole of nation approach. Number two, using technology to improve governance. That is the obvious message from this. How you can use technology to completely transform and improve governance and outcomes. Three is hands-on approach. When the top executive of the country of continental dimensions, is monitoring individual projects, and you have created a platform that such a large number of projects are there, and then you pick up some at random. So how you can, through intensive monitoring, transform the pace of execution vis-a-vis a usual sort of distant or hands-off approach, getting to the minutest details, brass tacks, and working together, and not leaving it to paperwork or coordination, but just picking up the phone and coordinating at the highest level to get things done. So these are all important lessons to be derived from the Pragati, the way it is conducted by the Prime Minister.
So we've seen the Honorable Prime Minister stressing about educational reforms a lot of time. We've seen his level of interest in the National Education Policy 2020 that was introduced. And now that the aim is to make model schools out of PM Shri schools, what has been this transformative journey, and why do you believe that education should be at the core of any nation's transformative journey?
No, education has to be the bedrock of this journey of Viksit Bharat. Because human capital, that is the most important element in this. And therefore, Prime Minister has invested a lot of time on improving the education system and skilling. The entire new ministry was set up. The PM Shri schools, they are exemplars. 14,500 schools which the central government of India is directly funding to create modern infrastructure with a great deal of investment in the capacity of teachers, orienting them properly, and providing a holistic education and regular monitoring and treating every child or every student, as unique. They have their own strengths and weaknesses. But these 14,500 schools are to serve as models. The idea is that the states will then replicate this across the entire education system.
It will be emulated.
Yeah, emulated. And the national education policy focuses on use of mother tongue for instruction, at least in the school stage. Again, on vocational training, on holistic experience, and also easing the regulation for higher educational institutions by creating a new unified regulator, the Higher Education Commission, which is now on the anvil in place of multiple regulators. So all these are parts of Prime Minister's vision to transform the education and skilling landscape in the country.
Absolutely. So coming from you that each and every child is special and everyone has his or her own strengths and weaknesses, from an official of your stature means a lot to the youth of the country, to the young entrepreneurs who are raring to go out there and do something for the country. We've seen a huge change in not just the mindset, but how the youth and the younger generation of the country is working towards the vision of a Viksit Bharat. And we've seen India's workforce contribute in a beautiful manner to another industry which has seen the vision of the Honorable PM come true, that is make in India and make for the world. I'm talking about the manufacturing sector. How India has been able to become, or is on the verge of becoming, a global manufacturing hub. How has that journey been, and how is Pragati contributing in it?
No, Pragati, of course, as I said, that has contributed to improving the speed and pace and scale of infrastructure creation, which is important for Viksit Bharat. But for manufacturing, you see, since 2014, a great deal of emphasis has been laid on structural reforms, institutional reforms, process reform, to make investment more attractive for domestic investors as well as foreign investors.
Ji.
And a lot of work was done across ministries and with the states on improving the ease of doing business. I think by now everyone is familiar with the dramatic improvement which India was able to accomplish in the ease of doing business rankings of the World Bank, and then states, joined this entire movement. Government of India started ranking states, and there was business reform action plan and a competitive spirit among states to make themselves more attractive for investments. So a whole lot of work on that front to improve, to make India a manufacturing powerhouse. Then, in addition to that, a number of other initiatives have been undertaken, like, the production-linked incentive schemes in 14 plus sectors, and now the semiconductor mission. So all these missions have contributed to getting an impetus in the country in several sectors. One shining example of that is the mobile manufacturing. In 2014, we were importing 78% of the mobile phones which were being, purchased in India. They were imported. Today, that number is less than 1%. It's 0.8% or something.
Amazing.
And India has become, I think, the third largest exporter globally of mobile phones. And the cumulative number, I think we have crossed $50 billion. So all the reforms and the production-linked incentive schemes and other initiatives, they have contributed to this improvement in manufacturing scenario. And now the reform of the labor laws is another step in that direction. And the National Manufacturing Mission, which was announced in the last year's budget and is, I think, in the final stages of getting launched. So all of these put together are contributing to making India a major manufacturing powerhouse.
Sir, you've been at the helm of great social initiatives and major government decisions. You've seen it firsthand from the first row. You've been a part of it. You've been in the middle of all the pressure. What was the planning and what was the vision when we talk about the defense dependence or the interdependence of defense equipments? More than 5,500 equipments are now being produced in India. We've reduced our imports by a major portion. And now the world is looking forward to get the exports from India. How has India emerged as a stable partner and ally? And especially in the defense sector, how has it emerged as a winner?
You see, defense manufacturing earlier suffered from a major, I would say, self-imposed handicap in terms of policy, in that it was reserved for public sector. So we had public sector undertakings, HAL, BEL, BEML. They did a commendable job, no doubt, and Ordnance Factory Board. However, this sector requires huge investment and technology infusion. So what happened as a result of that sort of policy was that we had to import a lot of defense equipment, which was platforms, weapons, aircrafts, and they were being imported from all over the world, from UK, France, Germany, Sweden, USSR, and then Russia. Most of these, paradoxically, were from the private sector of the foreign countries. So that was the paradox. So the most important thing in terms of policy change was that we opened it. In the last 10, 15 years, defense sector, space sector, they have been opened up, liberalized. Our private sector, our startups are now, free to participate in these things. So that is the most important change that has come about. Ordnance Factory Board, which was, a collection of units which were run as departmental units, not even public sector. They were corporatized about 3-4 years ago, and a number of corporations have been set up. A very important initiative was launched by the Ministry of Defense to encourage startups, the IDEX initiative. So all these have contributed to this complete transformation from almost complete dependence on imports to now India becoming a major manufacturer. And you have now a large number of Indian private sector players who are into this area, defense manufacturing, and they are making for our armed forces as well as exporting. And I think this is bound to grow.
And we hope that
phenomenally in the years to come.
Truly, we hope that it grows by leaps and bounds. We would love to have this conversation go on for a longer time, but then we know that you have a busy schedule. Before we wrap the interview, your views on the idea, the vision, the aim of a Viksit Bharat 2047. We've talked about space sector, we've talked about defense sector, we've talked about so many sectors being transforming and on a journey that has never been seen before. How do you think we will cover this journey? What are your broader views for the entire nation, for everyone, even for budding administrators? How should we go about it?
So Viksit Bharat has to be a national endeavor. Everybody has to join this. Those in the government, in the central government, state governments, students, those in the business, every citizen has to be part of this. It has to be a truly national endeavor. And as I said, the most important thing was, first of all, to think big. That the Prime Minister did. And it was not just then articulating the vision, but after that, and in fact before that, a solid foundation had been laid in terms of wide-ranging and deep structural and institutional reforms since 2014, massive scaling up of infrastructure. So it was not just, an off-the-cuff statement. It was made after due, I think, deliberation and consideration, a lot of preparation, and then follow-up, in the sense that the entire government machinery, Government of India ministries were galvanized into action. The groups of secretaries in different sectors, about 10 sectors, they prepared long-term visions. They were told specifically not to be constrained by the existing framework of laws and institutions, but to think big, draw inspiration or learnings from similar transformational journeys embarked upon by other countries. And so they prepared their long-term plans and what will it take to achieve their objectives in their sectors. These were then put together in the form of one big national vision, and then they have been converted into action plans. So these ministries are working on those plans. So it is not, just that one idea has been articulated. A lot of paid work was done before and after, and then the states, they have joined this endeavor. Almost all states are now preparing or have prepared their vision documents in sync with the national vision. And when this exercise was being undertaken of drawing up the vision, students were involved on a very large scale. The Prime Minister gave a call, invited students to give their suggestions as to what is their idea of Viksit Bharat. And then AI was used to analyze these suggestions and derive the important messages or points from there. So in that sense, the whole country has already been involved, brought together.
Cohesively.
Yeah. I think we are moving well on this issue.
We truly hope, sir, that we achieve our aim, our dream of a Viksit Bharat 2047. Thank you so much for taking out time from your busy schedule, coming here in the studios of Akashvani and joining us and giving us your valuable insights.
Thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you so much.
You were listening to an exclusive interview with Rajiv Gauba, member, NITI AAYOG, on Pragati and the journey towards Viksit Bharat at 2047. Interviewer was Vaibhav J. Srivastav. This program was produced and presented by the News Services Division of Akashvani. You can listen to it on our mobile app, News on AIR. This program is also available on our YouTube channel, News on AIR Official. You may share your feedback about this program through email at airnsttalks@gmail.com or WhatsApp on 9289094044.